So we are very pleased to see you here in our studio in St. Petersburg Economic Forum. So let us pass to the main question, Sberbank into Turkey. And can you tell us about the details? Because yesterday, yesterday on the discussion you said that this was one of the biggest deals, foreign deals for Sberbank. So.
Correct. As far as I know, yes, this is one of the largest deal, including Tsar time, the communist era, and the liberal era of Russian Federation. This has been the largest buy of Russia in one spot. So we owe this big event to my boss, Mr. Herman Gref, who I call him like Braveheart and change agent. So it happened last year, 8th of June, and it is signed actually, and the deal is closed after the Turkish regulators' approval by the end of September. So from there on, now we are in the big Sberbank family, and actually Denizbank is one of the largest bank amongst the private sector banks, number 5, and actually Turkish banking sector is very fragmented, so top 10 of us tap 95% of all major magnitudes like total assets, total deposits, total loans. Yep. So this is one of the largest bank in Turkey, Denizbank, and actually I'm the founder, CEO of Denizbank since 1997, yeah. And after we publicly listed our company's 25% of shares back in 2004, we became more popular among the international arena. And in the year 2006, May, Dexia, Belgium, amongst the others, overbeat the tender, and they bought our shares by paying 4.7 times book, which was at that time $3.25 billion. So we lived together with my former shareholder Dexia for about 6 years, full 6 years, and for the last 2 years I was the management board member on the Dexia level, which was around 680 billion euros magnitude. But due to this last crisis, yep. European Commission asked them to divest and deleverage, and Turkey was like a jewel in the crown, and they are asked to sell Turkey. At the beginning, former chairman and of our board and the group CEO, Mr. Pierre Mariani, told them that over my dead body. Nevertheless, after getting the hit from Greek bonds, Dexia had to sell, yeah. And they announced to sell in October 2011, exactly 6 years after their acquisition. And in the meantime, there were several other parties that bid for the deal. But Mr. Gref showed once again his genius strategy making personality, and he bid just about the last days of our deal, where there were such big banks like Europe's largest, etc., were bidding, like HSBC, QNB from Qatar, etc. Yep. But he did it really very mastermindly, and he just came into the deal in the very last days. So actually Dexia paid 1.35 times book, which is around $3.6 billion. And if you consider the Dexia's acquisition 6 years ago happened 4.7 times, still historic high multiple in Turkish banking sector, you can understand how Mr. Gref made this acquisition cleverly. And from there on, we are together. It has been almost 8 months now, and we announced our first quarter results. Mm-hmm. And although I shared my today's result like I do every day to my boss, Mr. Gref, but I can't tell it since we are publicly listed. It is not just audited yet. Yep. But the first quarter results is far above the expectations. So together with the wind of Sberbank, the big bank Sberbank, as our shareholder, we are sailing even faster. why do I use this metaphor like sailing? Because sea means ocean, means sea in Turkish. So we are Sberbank, and for the time being, management of Taxi and Mr. Grev didn't change the name, and they kept the management, myself and our friends, colleagues, and strategy-wise, we just exchanged the strategy and the action plans, and we came to a certain conclusion that we will continue on some of the strategies we already adapted to Denizbank since the establishment of this bank. But going forward, our adaptation period is continuing together with shareholder Sberbank colleagues, and especially on the risk area, and on other areas, best practices exchange also is going on, and we are taking whatever is better in Sberbank, and we are trying to give them whatever better we have. Actually, this is the first big international move of Sberbank, which was supposed to be a local, domestic retail bank operating in Russian Federation mostly, and some of the CIS countries like Kazakhstan, Ukraine and Belarus. But these acquisitions, the Europe one and Turkey, is particularly a very wise move for that magnitude Russian bank to become more and more international. Why? Because any bank like that giant, that big, has to diversify its operations across the globe, because diversity, as you know, is very important, and in case there is not much big gains in your country, there might be better gains elsewhere. Take Spanish banks, for instance, BBVA, Santander. They network, for instance, BBVA has an operation in Turkey, Garanti Bank's owner they are. And they have huge operations in the Latin America. And whenever you see what happened in continent Europe, and they are one of the peak countries, which means their economy is not that good. But still those two are doing really well. So this is one of a good evidence that such really big banks like Sberbank, number 3 in Europe, has to network elsewhere other than the main domain, that is Russian Federation. Outside of Russian Federation, networking is quite important, I guess.
So we're talking about the strategic partnership with Sberbank, and what can you tell us about the partnership between Russia and Turkey? So, are there any problems now?
Yes.
Or it's just going well?
It's getting every other day on a positive direction. Russian Federation's President Mr. Putin and our Prime Minister Mr. Erdogan, when Mr. Putin was Prime Minister of Russian Federation, has signed a treaty concerning the mutual benefits and the trade between two countries. And for the time being, it is a little over $30 billion, whereas those two leaders forecast within a couple of years' time to exceed $100 billion. Is it possible? I guess yes. Why? Because, as you know, I mean, these two countries and inhabitants, although they think they know each other well, I believe they don't. So I'm one of the missionaries, like my boss, Mr. Grev, is also. We have to bring those two nations together. Every year, more than 3 million people, citizens of Russian Federation, are visiting Turkey. Nevertheless, they come to a holiday village or a resort hotel, and they live there for a week or 2 weeks, and they go back to Russia. So this is not something you can learn about a country. So we have to be more dedicated to deep dive into each country's specifics, and we have to know more about ourselves. So finance is very important. There are 1,400 Russian companies doing business in Turkey, and the biggest one being Rosatom, one of
Yeah.
the state enterprise, which will build the first nuclear plant of Turkey in Mersin Akkuyu. And we will be more than happy to bank them, of course. They are good clients of both Sberbank, now Denizbank, which is the Turkish Sberbank. And there are more than 600 Turkish entrepreneurs and businessmen doing business in Turkey, in Russian Federation. Construction, retail, glass, brewery, etc. Those businesses, there are lots of Turkish people. In Sochi Olympic Games, there is a huge construction, and most of the contractors, subcontractors at least, are Turkish. So there, and one another thing between the comparison, when we compare these two nations, for instance, your esteemed country, Russian Federation, is energy rich. Turkey is energy poor. Climate-wise, Turkey has more advantages, like in tourism, etc. And Turkey is the connection, intersection point of two continents.
Yeah.
So Turkey is connecting Russia from the, let's say, warm seas like Mediterranean down to all the ocean and the rest of the globe. So to secure the friendship and mutual benefits on that region will help mutually. So I'm very, very positive and optimist about the future of these two nations. And Turkey finally get the investment grade from the rating agencies like Russia did many years ago. So our macroeconomic indicators are really as good as Russia, I should say, in terms of public debt and the budget deficit. Nevertheless, we have a problem of current account deficit due to our huge energy bill.
Yeah.
Our current account deficit, for instance, last year end was $48 billion, whereas if you exclude the energy bill of Turkey, which was $52 billion net last year, it's $4 billion positive. But in Russia, your export of energy is around $380 billion, and your surplus is $80 billion. So there are lots of complementary factors between two countries. And throughout the history also Russia is very important to us. There has been some fights and wars in between, but nevertheless we owe our independence partially to Russian Federation. At that time Lenin's government helped a lot to Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, who is the founder of our republic. And you know, I don't know whether you know or not, in Taksim, where these demonstrations took place the other week, actually there are a big monument, and it's a big number of statues, and there are 34 statues in Taksim Plaza monument, and out of which 2 of them are Russian generals. So they actually to thank them, to thank their helps actually. I mean, they put these 2 generals' statues amongst this 34. Why? Because I mean, Turkey early 20s was 11-12 million inhabitants, where just 7% of the people were literate. They were all rural based, and Ottoman Empire has diminished from 32 million square kilometer down to less than 800,000 square kilometer.
Yes.
And it was invaded after First World War by Italians, French, English, and Greeks. And so with this rural-based people, we won our elections thanks. We won our independence war thanks to our, founder father Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. In the meantime, he used the diplomacy between Russia at that time, Soviet Union,
Soviet Russia,
Soviet Russia, and New Turkish Republic, I should say, but the republic was not there.
Yeah.
The diplomacy is used very, very wisely by those 2 leaders, and we had a great help from your esteemed country. So I mean, it is everything is favoring our relationship. Look, can we imagine 10, 15 years ago that we will visit each other's country without a visa? Now we can do that. So going forward, there will be lots of other coming after. So.
So in my last question, I heard you were talking about Turkey turning away from European Union. It was said on one of these discussions. So and it was said in regards of this BRICS development and other things. So there are forecasts that maybe in some years Turkey will join BRICS. So are you optimistic in this, or?
Yeah. You see, actually, BRIC, including your esteemed country, is not an economic union. It's just named by one of the economists and the professor. Basically, the thing is that European Union accession story of Turkey lies back 50 years ago. And there are certain barriers, and we couldn't achieve so far. But for the time being, our ruling party and the governing party just adopted it, not like Maastricht criterions or Copenhagen criterions, instead Ankara criterions. What does it mean? I mean, we're trying to accomplish our reforms, no matter what, no matter whether we access to Europe or not. But I don't believe that Turkey is completely out of this bucket. I mean, Europe needs Turkey and vice versa. But going forward, I mean, the relationship of Turkey to Russia is once again important due to the fact that we need to diversify our trade. Because actually 10 years ago in 2002, EU was around 2/3 of our trade volume. Now they are less than 40%. Why? Because we are more active and becoming more and more active in Africa, in Middle East, in Asia, and North, including Russian Federation, the CIS countries and Caucasian region. So it is very crucial to us. I don't know whether you know that Turkish Airlines is number one in the world who, in terms of destinations they fly. Yeah. They fly to 66 cities only in Africa and Middle East. They have lines to there. So it is very important, I guess, to connect people basically. Moreover, innovations are going on, and Turkey adapted very quickly. Half of the population, more than 38 million, is online in Turkey. All these Twitter, Facebook, social media are utilized very effectively. So, there are 4.5 million university students as of today in Turkey, whereas it is more than combined figure of France and Germany. And but there is a long way to go still. For instance, the secondary education is less than around 42%. 58% of the population is less than secondary education. But we are trying to do our best. There are more than 170 universities in every city. Basically, there is a university, and Turkey is developing, and so is Russia, of course. So we are getting to understand each other much better, because Russia is, at the end of the day, a superpower. You have high technologies, you have huge resources, and human capital is very well educated. Over 140 million inhabitants, they're all mostly literate, and they're highly educated. So, but in Turkey, there is a really agile working force, labor force, and good entrepreneurship. So not only Sberbank, Denizbank togetherness, but there, I suppose, needs to be lots of other joint ventures and partnerships coming forth. So I'm quite positive about Turkish and Russian relationship. Nevertheless, I mean, for instance, time to time, there has been some TV channels, and naturally they are showing some incidents happening in my country. But you may perceive it like as if every day something is happening, and this is not the case. Whoever visits Turkey from your esteemed country observes it, and they want to go other places other than Antalya. And not only the tourism sites inside Turkey is really a place to waiting to be discovered. So we will be more than happy to host all Russian people in Turkey, and so I also hope most of the Turkish citizens will have a chance to go to Russia.
Of course. So we hope so. Also, thank you very much for joining us today, and enjoy your staying here in St. Petersburg.
Thank you very much. It's quite nice, wonderful.